What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome into Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to share with you guys a couple of quotes from Kevin O'Connell after minicamp that will have you guys absolutely fired up. He's talking about his relationship with Brian Flores and those two battling it out at practice. So we'll dive into that here in a second. But before we do so, you guys make the call on this one. How many years will Kevin O'Connell be the Vikings head coach? 40 years old. He could coach in the National Football League for 2025 season. So how long? I would probably have to call it at, it's going pretty damn well so far, at least 10 plus years. But you guys let me know, how many years will Kevin O'Connell be the Vikings head coach? So he was talking about his relationship with Brian Flores and just kind of talking about the games that those two play against each other as, those two squaring off at practice. I mean, the creative looks that KOC probably gives Flores' defense and then vice versa. I'm sure Flo is giving Kevin O'Connell all types of problems with the unique scheme he runs. But it was actually Ryan Kelly who kind of sparked this conversation from KOC saying this. Ryan Kelly turned to me and asked how to target a run. I said, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea what they're doing over there, talking about the defense with Brian Flores. And it was kind of Kelly's first exposure, and they were just trying something out using a specific grouping that we have not seen before, and that's just flow. I challenge him all the time to do those things, and then we're doing the same thing on the offensive side, trying to take something that now some of our players are 2-3 years in on this play, so we can find nuances to give the players more ownership on either side of the ball. And I must say, Vikings practices must be absolutely electric. Like seeing Flores show a look. All right, how does Kevin O'Connell adjust? KOC throws a look at Flores. Flores wants to adjust there. I'm sure those two have some battles. I'm sure they're yapping at each other. They're both very competitive dudes. And I'm sure Flores loves getting the best of KOC being the head coach. And then I'm sure KOC loves getting the best of Brian Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. But it truly is a iron sharpens iron situation because I'm sure that Vikings defense, when they're squaring off against Kevin O'Connell in this offense, that's going to be harder than whatever team they have to play that Sunday. And the same thing for the Vikings offense. When they're seeing Flores' very unique scheme and then they go play just a generic, base defense from another team, I'm sure it is a lot easier. But KOC also just talked about those two competing during practice, and that's what he said. That's something that I've really felt both sides really stressing this year is we know the systems, we kind of know the baseline of it, but here's the next layer of it where we want you guys to have that player ownership of it and maybe even the control of it, which has been really fun. But it's happening, and it'll happen in training camp. I'm sure there'll be one day when I'm mad at him or he's mad at me, and then we have a big old hug after practice and move on. But our team is like that. Our defense and our offense and defense are like that. And, I get a lot of comments all the time like, hey, why are you big on the Vikings? Is it just because you're a Vikings fan and you're drinking too much purple Kool-Aid? But if I had just had to chop it up to one simple thing, it's just the coaching staff. Like Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell, I have full faith in this team getting the most out of both sides of the ball. I mean, we saw it last year. Would we say the Vikings had one of the best rosters top to bottom in the National Football League last season? Not necessarily. Like, were they a very, very good roster? Absolutely. But, defensively, you had some major holes. Offensively, specifically the offensive line was a disaster. But still with the minds of those two, you were still able to get the 14 wins. And now with all the free agency additions, especially on both sides of football amongst defensive and offensive line, like both these units should be better than what they were last year. That led them to 14 wins. And every single week, no matter who it is, the Vikings have a coaching advantage in every game. Like, take Chicago Bears week 1. Brian Flores versus Ben Johnson. Okay, let's just say we give the nod to Ben Johnson. He's gotten the better of Brian Flores over the past couple of seasons. But Kevin O'Connell versus Dennis Allen, that gap is extreme. And even just keep going down the line. The Falcons, Bengals, Steelers, the Browns. Like, every team on the Vikings schedule, they should have an advantage on either side of the ball, where it's either Brian Flores is better than their offensive play caller or Kevin O'Connell is better than their defensive play caller. It's an iron sharpens iron situation, and that's why just these practices have to be so electric and so intense because I'm assuming the Vikings offense will be top 10 in the league. I can guarantee you the defense will be top 5. And when you're going up against that every single day in practice, it's just going to make both of those units a whole lot better. But I'll ask you guys this. I think the Vikes have the second best coaching staff in the league. just behind the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'll ask you guys. The Vikings have the blank best coaching staff in the NFL. Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Now, we'll dive into some random NFL bold predictions I have in a second, but I got to tell you guys about a new product we have here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports, and that is Factor Form. And if you guys want to start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form, head to factor75.com/VikingsChat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. Now, I have tried green supplements in the past, and I swore I was never going to try them again until I pivoted to Factor Form's Daily Greens, and it completely changed my life and how I just view drinking greens. But most of us dread it, but Factor Form changed the game. You'll actually crave your greens. As a sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens is a greens powder by Factor Form you'll look forward to drinking. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. With a refreshing, citrusy, and clean, smooth taste that's actually enjoyable to drink, mix a single serve pack in water and you're good to go. Now, Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables, packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it. And in a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked #1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out the biggest names in the industry. So if you guys want to start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form, head over to factor75.com/VikingsChat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/VikingsChat for 40% off plus free shipping. Hit that link, factor75.com/VikingsChat. I have it for you guys in the comments section and description of today's show. All right, I kind of want to have fun with this one. Don't take this too serious. I'm just going to go over some random predictions I have for the NFL season. Just trying to have fun with it. It is June 20th, dog days of the offseason, and my first prediction will be anti-Chicago Bears propaganda here. Luther Burden, their second-round pick out of Mizzou. I'm going to call, he just causes drama with the Bears. I think there's going to be a stretch this season where maybe he's not getting the ball, he's not a focal point of the offense, and he will have some cryptic tweet. He'll have some cryptic TikTok. He's a TikToker. He kind of reminds you of Chase Claypool a little bit. So, #1, I'm calling, we'll have a random report come out this season that Luther Burden is, unhappy with his role in the Bears offense or, something along those lines. But #2 for me, I'm going to go Cam Ward leads NFL in interceptions. And I am a Cam Ward guy, fan of his game. He's got a super, super live arm. It's wicked, but I do think he's going to put the ball in harm's way a whole lot this season. Maybe it's just a stench of Tennessee quarterbacks why I'm, making this prediction, but I think it's just him being a rookie. He's got an unreal arm. He's going to probably try to show it off a whole lot, and it could lead to a lot of interceptions. And I almost think some, fans in the NFL are kind of, blinded by, Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud. Most of these times, these rookie in their first seasons, when they don't have a good support system around them, they will struggle. So I got Cam Ward leading the NFL in INTs for #2. And #3, I'm going to go J.J. McCarthy is top 5 in jersey sales. So I saw an interesting stat the other day. It was terms of name, image, and likeness from the NFL this past season. J.J. McCarthy was #1 somehow without playing. Like Patrick Mahomes was #2, like Josh Allen, Burrow, and then Justin Jefferson was actually #6. So clearly J.J. has some big-time pull amongst not just Vikings fans but NFL fans. And I think he's going to be a hot topic when people are talking about the Vikes. If they're having a successful season, how much credit does JJ get? I think it's going to be very similar to the Brock Purdy discourse where it's like during his first couple of seasons, nobody would give him any credit. They were just saying, it's Shanahan, it's McCaffrey, it's all of this. But turns out Brock Purdy's a hell of a quarterback. So I think JJ, think that jersey's going to be flying off the shelves. So I got him top 5 in jersey sales after the season. Now, #4, a little bit of a bold one. Actually, an extremely bold one here. 5 wide receivers will go for 1,500 plus yards. So you got to think there's a ton of guys that can do this. You got obviously Jefferson and Chase. That's 2. I think CeeDee Lamb could potentially do it. I don't know about A.J. Brown. He definitely has the talent to do so, but with how that Eagles offense is ran, I'm not sure about him. But like Garrett Wilson with the Jets, there's a huge gap between him and that second receiving option. Even got guys like Puka Nacua. Nico Collins could easily have a 1,500-yard season, or even a guy like Malik Neighbors, that connection with Russell Wilson. I just think we're going to have 5 receivers just have monster years this year in the NFL. And then It's probably actually the most bold one I have on here. Just considering this never happens. I'm gonna go no new playoff teams in the NFC. So I'm saying it will be the Eagles, the Lions, the Buccaneers, the Rams, and then the Commanders, Vikings, and Packers. Those 7, let's throw up 8. Those 7 will be the playoff teams NFC. Now, could the Niners slip back in? Maybe. Could the Cowboys jump, the Commanders or the Eagles possibly? Could, the Bears shock the world and make the playoffs? That could definitely all happen. But I think we're going to see the same playoffs that we did last year in the NFC. Now, seeding could be different. Maybe another team gets the number 1 seed. I don't know. Anything can happen. But just want to get you guys 5 random predictions to close out this beautiful video on a Friday in June. So if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with a skull down below in the comment section. See y'all next time. Let's go Vikes.